Were you working part-time, full-time for anybody at that time when you were in college?
Yeah, when I was in college and in high school, I had a very busy lawn and landscaping business for years.
Okay.
And then my intention behind that was to save up money to buy my first house, and so that I could start, buying houses and renting them out. So
Yeah.
I did that. I started renting out houses, but then I started buying houses and renting them out. But pretty quickly I realized that you needed more money than I had, and so I went out into really full-time brokerage as a means of making some money so I could get to my goal.
Yeah. Tell me about the loan business to save up for the first house.
Oh yeah, man.
That's got to be a story.
Way harder back then than I do now. I'll tell you that. That was just brutal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did landscaping, and like a lot of people do when they're in high school. I was out mowing all sorts of yards and had a couple helpers, and that was a lot of work. So, but I knew I didn't want to do that as a full-time deal, and a lot of people do, and that's great. But again, I knew what my goal was, and so I started buying houses in Southwest Oklahoma City, fixing them up, renting them out, and all over Northwest, different parts, but almost all in Oklahoma City. Although I was from Edmond, and started renting them out, and then. Got into commercial real estate brokerage at the age of 25, and worked in that for a long time.
How old? So tell me about that first house. Where was it? How much did you put down? How much was the house?
Yeah, so my first houses were over on Northwest 29th and Classen. It was about 90,000. Well, actually, okay. So my first house I bought in college. It wasn't truly a rent house because I lived in it, but my first house I bought in college off of 15th Street near UCO, and I rented out my rooms, and that's really where I really felt like, okay, this is definitely what I want to do, because renting out my rooms was great. I rented out a couple of my rooms, and it paid my whole mortgage. I thought this is a great deal. So that was really my first one, and then later on I would go into the city and find houses for considerably less. I mean, buying houses in Edmond is very, certainly when you're in your early 20s, and really by any standard, they're rather expensive.
Yeah. So you get the bug then. You're in college. Like I said, you do what a lot of smart college people do is, hey, let me buy this house because I've saved up enough money for a down payment, and I can have my buddies rent from me and pay my mortgage.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's even for everyone listening who's about to graduate university, you should do that too. Buy a house and have your buddies rent from you rather than going and spending $1,500 at an apartment or whatever it is.
So it was really funny. At UCO, the signs would always read room for rent, $250, room for rent, $200. Well, mine said room for rent, $550. And for some reason, people rented it. And then I thought, man, that's great. So then I put up another sign. That was my master bedroom. For the next one, I rented out for $400, and somebody rented it. And then a friend asked, hey, do you have any more rooms? And the only one I had left was mine. So I rented mine, and I moved into my attic. Now, when I say attic, I don't mean some nice attic. I mean...
You mean a legit
like
attic?
Like a legitimately horrible attic. I mean, you want to talk about cold, man. I would have like 2 electric blankets stacked up on me, and I was living in that thing. It was miserable. The funniest part was I bought a coin-operated washer and dryer.
Yeah.
And I put it in there, and because I started wanting to charge my roommates to wash their clothes, and man, they were not happy about that. And so there was a lot of bitterness. But I mean, the funniest part was to dry your clothes. It would take like 6 cycles to dry them. I mean, they would come out and they're watching TV. Hey, I want a refund. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, there are no refunds. So so that was definitely a point of contention. Yeah. But it turned out great. So I had that house for 5 years, and I sold it, and it was good.
Yeah. You ever drive by that house to remind yourself?
I do. I drive by it sometimes, and it's I do.
A great reminder. I'm sure one day you might even buy it back just to have it, right?
Maybe so.